Good morning, everyone. Welcome to my YouTube channel. My name is Karina, and I'm coming to you from the Pacific Northwest, where I live with my partner, our two kitties, and the two horses that I'm walking out to feed. If you are new here, welcome, and if you are returning, glad to have you back. And you will recognize this as the walk that I take out to the barn early in the morning. It is about 6 a.m. on Thursday, June 20th. So why am I recording on a Thursday instead of a Friday? Well, tomorrow is my birthday, and we are leaving for a week-long bicycle trip. So we are going to be carrying our stuff on our bicycles and camping and staying in motels for a week. Yesterday was Juneteenth, so that's a holiday for the agency that I work for. And then I took today off, and then tomorrow's my regular day off, and then I have the whole next week off. So while I thought that these 2 days would be relaxing, they really have not. I still need to pack. Here, well, let's pause and look at the pond and our creek. It's peaceful. You can probably hear the birds chirping. Here's the upstream side. It's quite a jungle in there in the summer. It is a tremendous amount of work to get stuff ready for a trip like this. So packing, getting the house ready for house sitters and stuff like that. It's just a lot more than the ordinary. Plus, my bike needed a repair, so thankfully Randy discovered that on the weekend. I think it might have been Saturday. And so we took it down there to the bike shop, and then I went and got it yesterday, so that took some time out of the day. So the horses have been out in pasture. However, I see them in the stall, so good morning, boys. So I'm gonna get to feeding, and then I'll get to the knitting content, and then other life stuff in a upcoming segment. Good morning. Welcome to the knitting and other portion of my podcast. Pardon me while I manipulate my cup of tea in my lap. So like I said in the introduction, we are getting ready to leave for vacation, and there's about a million things to do. So far this morning, I have gathered all the things that I think I need to pack and have them at least somewhat organized. Not quite completely organized yet. We'll do that later. I still need to mow, and I'm waiting for the grass to dry, so I'm planning on mowing around noon. I'm looking at my computer, it's about 8 a.m. right now. So I have some time to do this podcast. I have some time to fret more about packing. I have made up the guest bed for our house sitter, and her mom is also staying, so she will sleep in our bed. So I need to make sure that she has her own pillow and stuff like that. So, it's kind of hard getting the house ready for someone else to take care of it, especially when they are using your room and your bathroom, because things need to be put away that otherwise we would just leave out. I mean, our guest room is always set up for guests, and there's a bathroom upstairs. It's always set up for people who are going to stay. So it's not as much work, but certainly requires a lot more thought when someone's actually staying in our room. Maybe people don't think about it as much as I do. We have certainly stayed in other people's beds when we have stayed at their house, and they probably didn't worry about it as much as I do. I guess I think that, I want it to be like a hotel. I want it to be their space, not thinking of of our space and stuff like that. But that's really hard to do when you have, of course, a lot of personal effects in your rooms. So I am probably overthinking it. Undoubtedly, I am overthinking it. So let's move on. One of the big questions is, how am I going to take any knitting along on this trip? Because the bags are pretty small. I mean, I can attach bags like to the handlebars. You know, there's kind of a like a Tootsie Roll type arrangement on the front of the bike, and then there's like small bags that kind of go on the bar that goes between the seat post and the handlebar post. And then let me show you the bags. There's one right here. There's a rack on the back of the bicycle that will attach 2 of these bags. And these are decent sized bags. So it probably can fit a lot in here, fit at least a lot of clothes. And then also there's space on top of the rack to strap down stuff. So the trick to bike packing is making sure you have enough stuff, but not too much stuff that, you know, it's going to be impossible to ride your bike up a hill. Or your bike is just, actually the more they weigh, I mean, kind of the more stable they are, but on flat ground and even kind of downhill, but you know, going uphill can be a real challenge. So that's what's been occupying my mind lately. I have been knitting. Oh, I have a finished object that I forgot to bring, so I'll be right back. So I need to update my notes about the show notes, because I was looking at last week's notes and it's like, yeah, I'm still working on those. But it's not true. Here are Hermione's everyday socks. You may have seen these on Instagram if you follow me on Instagram. These are made from Legacy Fiber Arts Penguin Parade colorway. You can see that I did this cuff with the contrasting color in I think 10 rows, and then the remaining rows of the cuff, probably 5 rows, is in the main color, and then I started in the Hermione's everyday sock pattern. And then I did the heel flap. I did the heel turn in the main color, and then the toe, the umbrella toe. This is Kay Jones umbrella toe, which I really like knitting. Not such a big fan of wearing, I have to admit, just because of where the decreases are. There's one like right under the toe, and I don't really care for that. So I will probably do the standard toe in the future, you know, where there's decreases on each side. And then this sock, I forgot, when I cast on the second sock, I forgot to use a contrasting color and just continued with the main color. And so that's why there are 5 rounds of main color in there. So I actually kind of prefer these. This way of doing it. So you may see this in the future. In fact, I'm sure you will. So these are the size small, 56 stitches around. I have said in previous episodes that I like 60 stitches, but actually I think 60 stitches works really well for me. And I think there's 50 in the leg and 60 in the foot, including the gusset decreases, and then I think there's 20 in the toe. I use size 0, which is 2mm Chogu red lace magic loop, so 32-inch cord. So that is that. Which brings me to a whip. So I am doing the Kay Litton heel toe do-si-do with self-striping yarn. This is a Freckled Whimsy self-striping yarn, and you will see that I did the same thing. I started with the main color for the first part. I think this is half of the ribbing and then did the contrast color, which is this color here, for the rest of the ribbing. And these are 20 rows. It's a twisted rib, 1 by 1, and then this nifty pattern. I really like this pattern. It took me a long time to memorize it, and then I set it down for a couple days, did the heel flap and heel turn, so I did that in the contrast color. In fact, I forgot to do the first part of the heel flap, change colors to the contrast color, and so about 5 rows is in the main color. So, you know, when you kind of get into a routine and kind of forget what you're doing, you end up with some interesting modifications to the pattern. So again, Chogu red lace. These are the bamboo needles, size 0. Can't see if that's even in the picture. There we go, just like that. And I am still working on the gusset decreases, and I will do probably 60 rows, including the gusset decreases for the foot, and then do the toe. And I think hers, Kay Litton, has the standard decrease at each side, so I will be using that. So as I was saying, the pattern's pretty easy, a little bit difficult to memorize, and it's not in a chart. It's written out. I mean, that's fine. You could easily chart it if you are familiar with charts, but I had to go refer back to the pattern when I started the gusset decreases, just to remind myself of what the pattern looks like. So I would really like to take these socks on vacation. It takes me about 2 weeks to finish a pair of socks, especially if I'm knitting on other things. And quite honestly, I'm down to 2 projects right now. My other projects are in hibernation, and I'm kind of focused on summer sock camp, hosted by the Crazy Sock Lady, also Kay Litton. So this is in a bag made by my mom. Very simple drawstring bag, which I really like because I can secure it against yarn murdering cats. My computer just turned off. And then the other works in progress you have also seen before. Oh, you probably haven't seen that sock. I think I talked about the yarn. And the colorway, I forgot, is a Norbert or Norberta, it was a Harry Potter character. So I am also continuing to work on this tee. Isn't this cute? This is by Tanis Fiber Arts, and it is called the Flip Side Tee. So the modification I made was putting a ribbed collar. This one has no collar, but I like a little ribbed collar. It was easier for me to do, because the way the pattern reads, you cast on, join in the round, and then you immediately start short rows. It was really hard for me to not twist anything incorrectly with that. So this was my second attempt, and I decided to put on like a 5-row ribbed collar, just so that I could make the short rows easier. So I think this is going to be really cute. This is going to be, I'm making the smallest size, and I'm using a needle size that's a little bit smaller. The yarn is pretty stretchy, and my gauge tends to be on the big side. So that's why I am doing that. I'm using size 4 Chogu red lace, hand-dyed yarn that my mom got me in Idaho last year. A mystery sock yarn for that stripe. And then this is a Knit Picks gloss in Blackberry. So that's that. Not in a huge rush for this. I don't know that once I get the body done, it's really going to be pretty easy. I don't know that there is Oh, this is interesting because now that I'm reading the directions a little bit more, I think this was supposed to be a provisional cast on, and then you can do a ribbed crew neck, which I did, or you could do an I-cord bind off, which I'm glad I did the rib, and I'm glad I just knit it top down. I don't necessarily find provisional cast-ons that easy to work with. There is some sleeve edging. It doesn't look terribly complicated. It just looks like knitting a few rounds. It doesn't even look like that many rounds. So you can see here that it seems like the sleeve is mostly ribbed. So that's what I'm gonna do. So this could be done before summer, hopefully. Although the way the weather's going, we could have summer for a long time. We've had a long, chilly spring. So even though it's warming up significantly, I think it's supposed to be 80 degrees today. And I am aware that there are other places in the country that are under a miserable heat dome right now. We had one of those a few years ago, and it was hot. It was really hot. It was 99 degrees here in Western Washington, and it never gets that hot here, or at least especially as close to the Puget Sound as we are. The Puget Sound really moderates the temperatures around here. However, that heat dome really increased the heat, and we are lucky we have a basement that stays pretty cool. So we were able to retreat to the basement, and then on the last day of the heat dome, I could really tell that the basement was starting to heat up as well. But upstairs, I want to say it got into the 80 degrees indoors, and most of us don't have air conditioning, just because it's typically just not necessary here. Our temperatures, we usually have like 6 weeks of summer, and it can get in the 80s, but it cools down at night, and it has been quite cool at night. It's still in the 40s at night here. So, please send some thoughts and prayers to my tomatoes. They are struggling. They are valiantly hanging on and trying to grow but it's tough when when the temperatures are this cool this late in the year. So I don't know how. I just feel like I'm going to have a giant tomato harvest in October, and maybe corn by then. Who knows? I don't know that I'm going to get the knee high by 4th of July with the corn. The kale, on the other hand, has been doing great. It's starting to flower now, but I keep picking off the heads, and the leaves are, of course, still good. So gonna have to think about watering too while we're away. Although I think we're only supposed to get a couple hot days while we're still here, and then next week it's supposed to cool down quite a bit. So, I've talked a lot about life stuff, just in terms of getting ready for this trip. I went for a bike ride yesterday, which was pretty awesome. I was feeling pretty tired the last couple days, so it was hard to get the motivation to go, but I really needed to take my bike for a spin since it came back from the bike shop, just to make sure it was, working properly before we, got on the trail. Well, we're actually getting on the trail on Saturday morning, early Saturday morning, because it's supposed to be in the 90s in Wenatchee, where we're starting from. And we're going to try to start really early in the morning to get most of the riding done before it gets really hot. And we're camping that first night. And I'm a little concerned. Our first day is going to be 40 some miles, and my longest ride so far has been like 23. So I'm just hoping with the consistent riding that I've done, and that we have all day and it's just a bike ride, that it's going to be fine. But yesterday I did spend too much time worrying about it. Had a couple days of work, and Those went fine. The second day, I'd pretty much caught up on everything and was just responding to some last minute questions. So that was pretty easy. And like I said in the introduction this morning, the last couple days off have not been as relaxing as I would like. Hopefully today, while I wait for the grass to dry, because that's like the one big chore that I can think of that I still need to do besides getting all my stuff into bags. But I'm going to wait till Randy gets home from work before I do that, because he will undoubtedly have some suggestions on the best way to do that. So, and I think that's it for now. We will be gone the entire week. So my podcast next week will come out late because we will be arriving back in town. Civilization on Friday, and we don't come home until Saturday. So, and I don't know that I'm going to feel like podcasting on Saturday after we get home. I am hoping. I'm hoping to take some knitting along to show some progress. I don't know. I'll take it for my, kind of hotel bag. We're staying in the first night, but I don't know that for the rest of the week, the knitting is going to end up in my travel bags. So that will be it. I should talk about the horses. So I didn't say so in the beginning. For those of you who might be new, the two horses are Mustangs that I adopted from the Bureau of Land Management Wild Horse Adoption Program. The gray one, Odin, he is my riding horse, and you will have seen that in the introduction as well, that, I am on him. Bragi is... he's 6, quite young. He's an immature 6-year-old compared to domestic horses. And we are still working on trailer loading. And we're just trying to take it really easy with him. And hopefully it's a comfortable, I just want it to be a comfortable experience for him, and, just work very slowly to gain his confidence in it. And he's doing a lot better. He's doing way better. He can move his body around in the trailer. He still is kind of alert in the trailer, and that's just going to take time and practice. But what I think is that after we get back and I work with him that first week in July, we will be able to continue our journey. I've just been working on my own the last few weeks. I've had a couple lessons on Odin, and I'm having a lesson on Odin tomorrow before we leave. That's the horses. The cats. I put an overnight bag on a chair, or just right over here in my field of view in Harley. Curious kitty he is. It's empty, but he jumped in it, and then it fell off the chair with him in it, and he got kind of tangled up in the straps, and he was dragging it around. He didn't seem scared. He seemed more annoyed than anything, and he certainly didn't seem like he was hurt, but it was pretty comical. That's all the news. That's all the catch up. I could talk about the birds real quick. Yesterday, the robins were just calling their alarm calls every single day, every single minute throughout the day. So, and I was wondering what was happening. I did see a dead immature bird. I think it was a robin near the garage. I don't think there's a nest up on the garage, but the other thing I heard is a young barred owl. They have a begging call that is almost like nails on a chalkboard. It is really annoying. And the robins, ever since I heard that in the morning when I was working with Odin, the robins were just alarmed all day long. So which is understandable if there's owls in their territory. And I don't know if that's how the baby robin met its demise, is that it was plucked out of the nest by an owl and then dropped. I really don't know what happened. It didn't have feathers. I mean, it was starting to grow the feather structures. I guess we call them quills if we're going to use them for, using them for pen and ink. But it was starting to grow that. But other than that, it didn't have any feathers. So, obviously not trying to fly. Could have fallen out of a nest somewhere, but it seemed really far away from where any of the nests are. The other update I have is that the song sparrow that made a nest in my 2 stacks of hay, I have moved all the remaining hay out of that stall so that she may have privacy while she is brooding, and hopefully her chicks will hatch or the eggs will hatch while we're gone, and maybe have some maturity too. So I moved the last hay out of there this morning, so I don't know whether she's used to me being in there. I kept my back to her so that hopefully less threatening while I was moving that hay out. She did not fly away, and I kind of tried to peek, but it was just too far away, and the little crevice that she built the nest is too dark for me to see. So I don't know if you can hear the cats running around, but they are having a good time chasing each other. So hopefully that will happen. I will check on them when we get back from our trip. But that is all the news that I have. So I'm going to end it here. I hope you have got a lot of progress done on your project, and have a great week.